Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here. Thank you, Linda and Tom, for inviting us in here today, for inviting this beautiful art onto the wall. The rest of the Cottin family, some of which are not here today, but might be viewing in another way from afar at some point. And of course, Dave Loewenstein for always, inviting me and the community in to participate in creating not just beauty in the world, but in this case, helping us reorient, helping us rethink what it is we're here for, what our roles are in this world, and in turn what our responsibilities are. And so that's, for me, kind of when I look up here and kind of playing off of what Dave offered too around that opportunity, if not necessity and responsibility we have right now to reorient to how we view ourselves in relation to each other, to the plants on here, to the stars. And really now is the time we have to do that. And one positive thing that I think we'll hear more about from Dr. Dan Wildcat here is we don't have to start from scratch. There are peoples on this land who have ways forward built upon these exact types of relationships that don't view North on top, that don't view humans on top, but instead understand that we are actually intertwined with each other, and that there is not a hierarchy of knowledge systems, there's not a hierarchy of race, class, ethnicities that has been constructed in this society that we live in today. And so I think, as we have all seen over the past couple of years from our various positionalities and our points of view through the pandemic, through the uprisings, which I live 5 blocks currently from the third precinct in Minneapolis in Dakota lands. And so I've had that kind of unique opportunity to see firsthand, what not only the ongoing systems of injustice impose upon our Black relatives, as well as many other Indigenous and other people of color, but I've also seen a lot of the beauty in the responses as well, coming out of being able to participate and work out of the American Indian Center feeding elders throughout the pandemic. Coming down here intermittently and seeing how the city of Lawrence, with support from the Kaw Nation and some other people in this audience, are really trying to reorient how we think about Lawrence, Kansas. It didn't actually just emerge from an ether in 1854, right? There was something here before, there were people here before, and as much as there is to be celebrated about an abolitionist history, that is very much a very small point in time to what we find on this land prior to the settlers arriving here. And so I'm just really fortunate to, in my young college career, have the opportunity to spend some time with Dr. Wildcat in the classroom, reading, learning, not only about Western philosophers, but also the counterpoints, from John Mohawk, Vine Deloria Jr., some of the other Indigenous philosophers who offer ways forward, who show us that a matter of having a map that sits like this, or even constellations, that's really just a matter of perspective, and that's not the only way to do things. And so I remember particularly there was one course when I was with Dr. Wildcat, and one of the readings talked about just the way that we orient to place, and it was speaking very much to this similar idea, and how if I'm here, like the wall's to my right if I'm standing here. If I go here, it's to my left, right? So it's always placing me at the center of everything, like the world revolves around me as an individual, especially as an American individual, Native American as well, I would add. But there are other ways of being that are embedded within Indigenous languages that just don't even understand that, right? That would always be to the west, or it would always be, upstream, depending, regardless of where I'm situating myself. And so I think within those teachings, there's opportunities, responsibilities for everyone here to kind of see how we can move forward respectfully and appropriately, listening to the voices of the people who know this land best, which is the Indigenous peoples. And so, I'm happy to be able to welcome Dr. Wildcat up here to share some more words on that, and also just call out just a broader invitation to everybody to pay attention to what's happening in the city now with the move of Big Red Rock. I'm sorry, I don't speak Ka. Joje Wahobe, I believe. But that's a significant step, and it shouldn't be considered just the first step or the only step, right? I think it is a first step towards a longer process of reconciliation and considering what it means to be on someone else's homelands and the responsibilities we have to uphold their sovereignty to whatever extent they wish to be engaged and involved in the lands here, as well as just learn from teachings that might be embedded within their way of knowing this place intimately, way more so than I know myself, even though my family history does go back a little while here, but we've only been here about 200, 300 years since we were relocated from what's now the state of Iowa and southern Minnesota. So I just wanted to, I guess, just offer that, and just offer gratitude, because much of what I might be thinking or sharing today stems from early moments in my life where I had the fortune to learn from my longtime mentor and now friend, Dr. Dan Wildcat, of how we can just be in better relations with each other, with land, plants, animals, and I'm just happy that you all get an opportunity to hear from him today as well. So with that, I'd just like to invite Dr. Dan Wildcat up here.